Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Keeping It Real with Tiff and Carl. I'm Carl Rabun.
I'm Tiffany Salcido, and it is
And
real. It is real early.
yeah, a little behind the scenes. Usually we record, you know, uh, we do less before 9 a.m. than most people do all day. I'm kidding. That's an old commercial, right? You remember that commercial? That's an old
No.
Army commercial. The Army's, we do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day. And so, yeah, but no, we found our schedules. This is the time of year where our schedules are backed up and they're hectic, and especially it's like the last 2 weeks of the fiscal year here in California. So all the state and county works are scrambling to get their stuff in, and so
Yeah.
not to do, right? And so yeah, so getting it in this early is definitely a good thing, so that we can get the rest of our day done. So yeah.
Yeah.
So we're here, we're armed, we figure it out. We got coffee, we've got,
When mine's in a
attitude, we've
tumbler, we're
got
in
it all.
trouble. I'm not a morning
Uh-oh, a
person.
tumbler.
I'm not a, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a tumbler of coffee. That's how we're doing it today. But I'm funny, I'm not a morning person. And anybody who's ever met me knows that I take a while to defrost. I'm not like there's some people who can like hit the ground running. They wake up, and I think you're that person, Carl, where you can just wake up and get ready and you're ready to go. I, well, not really, but I I need like 2 hours to defrost. Like that's what I call it, like defrosting.
Yeah.
So like because we were meeting really early this morning, I got up really, really early this morning to like be in a position to have conversations because I'm like the
Yeah.
epitome of not a morning person. If you look up like the most extreme version, that's me. So I woke up really early so that I'd be prepared and my brain fog would be melted off and such. And so um, it'll be an early night for me for sure. I'm just saying that. I woke up early, so I'll be in bed early, even though I went to bed at 9 p.m. last night in preparation.
Ooh. Wow. Wow.
While
Yeah.
I'm on my little
Yeah.
mini vacation,
Jeez.
while I'm on my mini
Yeah.
vacation, I was ready for bed.
See, the sacrifices we make for
Mhm.
our peeps, right? For our
That's
real
right.
folks. So yeah, yeah, very cool. Yeah, it's not going to be an early night for me, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately, we got tickets to a concert, so we're gonna,
Oh, fun.
my wife and I are gonna go see Trey Songz and Jeremiah, and at the casino out here. And so, that's what we do. You're on vacation. You like to travel and do stuff. Our vacations are usually concerts. We like to go to concerts. We've seen so many acts since we've been together, and so many good memories. That's our happy space. So some people
Awesome.
like to be on a boat, some people like to be on the road. We're on the
Hmm.
road every now and then, but for the most part, if we're on the road, it's towards a concert. So and festivals and things like that. So it's this is one of those nights. So we're going to
Awesome.
see them. We're going to see Trey Songz tonight, and our next concert is going to be a comedy concert. We're actually going to go with our mutual friend Dope with her husband. We're going to go see Trevor Noah. So yeah, yeah. I know you got a lot of friends sharing each other these days. I saw your little comment on LinkedIn with our mutual friend Kelly and our mutual friend Danielle teaming up in a class, and
Mm,
yeah, I hear you.
I don't
I
like
hear
it.
you.
Listen, just because I left the country doesn't mean that everybody's allowed to hang out with each other without me. I am protesting. I'm just
Yeah, well,
joking. I do it in jest. I'm glad that the people I love each other. It makes me happy. Kind of. I'm still I, I still hope you get bad service at your restaurant as a punishment for hanging out without me, but I understand.
hmm,
Yeah.
no.
I hope they never refill your water glass and your bread is stale. But other than that, I hope you have a good time. I hope your salsa on your chips and salsa is salty. I'm just saying.
I
That's what I
think it
wish
was
for you.
I can deal with stale bread as long as the butter's good.
No, there's no butter. It's going to be margarine. That's what I'm wishing for you. Margarine.
That's Parquet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, okay. That's cool. I mean, you can't always get what you want.
I always get
But
what I want. So mm, mm.
oh,
I warned you I had an attitude today. I warned you.
it's all good. It is all good. So yeah, so I mean that's I hear you. Sometimes that's a challenge, right? When we're doing stuff and people are missing out. I know you're just playing kind of, but it really does light me up when I see people. I like to think I'm a connector, right? So when I meet people, if I connect people and then they end up doing stuff together, it actually warms my heart, right? And it's kind of that's real cool to see that, and I don't feel like I'm missing out because if I want to do something, I would do something, right? So, but I hear it, but
You're just a better
it
person than me.
I don't know. I think it's just a difference in personality, right? But
Scorpio.
yeah,
So I'm very possessive. Scorpios are very possessive. So
Mhm.
that's again, not that I believe all things astrology, but some of the characteristics of astrology are fairly spot on. And I do wish people well. Like, don't get me wrong. I joke around like I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody I care about, or anybody in general. Well, there's a couple people hope something bad happens to them, um, but for the most part, I have FOMO. I get like serious FOMO. So when I see people that I enjoy their company and they're enjoying each other's company and I'm
hmm
not there, then I have FOMO because I know how much I love both of the people and
hmm
they're having fun without me. So that's like where I'm missing out. Like, no, mind you, I'm probably doing other cool shit on the other side
yeah,
without them. But that's not the point of this conversation. How dare you have the audacity to take my middleman status of connecting you and have fun without me?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I hope you
Well,
have a good time. I hope I hope Trey Songz forgets the lyrics to his. Oh no, you're not going to see. I hope Trevor Noah forgets the punchline. I hope there's a slow burn and you don't get to laugh at the end.
well, actually, I'm going to be rushing to that concert, so maybe this make you feel better. I double booked myself. We have the concert, and then I have a concert of my own. I have a gig that night, and so
Mhm.
it starts at 6, and we're done by 8, and then the Trevor Noah starts at 8. So I'm figuring they usually have an opening act, right? With
Yeah.
comedians, they always have somebody come out to warm up the crowd. So I'm hoping that'll happen so that I can get there early or get there, just right on time. So, because it's not super far away, it's just I need maybe about 20 minutes, a half an hour just to be able to get there and to get situated. So, you know,
Well,
I,
actually, that works out in my favor because that means
yeah,
that you won't have a lot of time to interact on a one-on-one level before
yeah,
the show.
that's
So
true. It's
good,
just a
good,
transactional thing. Yeah,
perfect. I
yeah,
support it. I support
yeah.
it, and hopefully everybody's so tired at the end, you just all go to your respective homes and don't like go have a drink or a meal together because that would really piss me off. So,
Yeah. Well,
anyways, good. Have fun.
and that probably be an early night because I think
Fantastic.
my wife works the next day, so she you know
Beautiful.
yeah, see,
Didn't I
so
tell you
yeah,
I always get what I want? Didn't
it
I tell you
always
I always
works
get what
out.
I want? Hmm. So, oh, look, I'm a little bit happier now. Maybe my attitude's going away. Maybe we'll see.
Okay, which leads me to my question of the episode, right? Which is about attitude, right? So if you well, what's a song that just puts you in a mood that you want to be in, or maybe it might be a couple songs, right? If you want to be in an energetic mood, if you want to feel good, if you just want to chill, right? What are a couple songs that just put you into a specific mood that will get you started for the
Mm.
day?
I don't know if it necessarily gets me started for the day because I don't usually listen to music in the morning.
Hmm.
Morning is where I uh, absorb myself with the news of the world. As I get ready for work or get ready for whatever I'm doing, I usually get caught up on current events. I mean, there's nothing like doom scrolling to get your day going. But like happy music. One of my favorite, like I can't not dance around and like live my best life, is Freedom from George Michael.
Mm.
I love that song and I can't help but, do the whole music video when I listen to it. So, um, really dig that one. Um, of course, anything Depeche Mode puts me in a good mood. Anything
Mm.
Depeche Mode. So if I just put on any album, I'm gonna be happy. And and there's a few of my old Hood Rat songs that if they come on, I can't help but, um, get really into it. Like back that ass up, juvenile. It's like the anthem. So if I hear that, no matter where I'm at the grocery store, driving in the car, driving in someone else's car, I I got to back it up. There's no other option. It's illegal, I think, in 48 states to not back that thing up. So I do.
That, that is the universal call to the dance floor. Yes,
It really
absolutely.
is.
Right.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you hear about the 99 to the 2000s, like what choice do you have? You better get out there. Otherwise, you could get in some real trouble. So,
I mean,
um,
I've never seen it not work in a club, in a bar, in a country club. I think I saw one time. I saw a video where people were doing a Mexican line dancing. I came on and people were gigging, right? So yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the universal call to the dance floor. Yes, absolutely.
and so my kids, they I think appreciate it now, but back in the day, if when they were a little bit younger, if they would hear it, they'd like, don't do it. And I'm like, I can't stop. So those are some of my favorites. I have a lot. I have like try to make a playlist of my favorite songs, like just my favorite songs. And it's currently about 40 hours long.
Hmm.
That's not an exaggeration. I will tell you right now. I made it for the brewery in San Felipe
Hmm.
because they love me and they let me play my own music when I go in there. So I
Wow.
made one just for when I go hang out, and it is 37 hours, and it's got several songs on it. I don't even know how many songs, but many. And I love
Wow.
it because I walk in and they're half the time they're already playing it because it's such a good list of music. That's just the anthem. And it's a little bit of everything. It's got rock, it's got rap, it's got hip hop, it's got R&B, it's got rock, like alternative, it's got 70s, it's got, just a little bit of everything, a little bit of everything, something for everyone.
Nice.
Spanish, banda, just a little bit of
Yeah.
everything.
So
Love
they
it.
know Tiff's in town, hit it, and they
Well,
start
it's
playing you.
funny. Yeah, pretty much that's how it goes. I when I got back into town like 2 weeks ago, I walked in, and as soon as we walked in, we all collectively danced at the same time, and that made me so happy. So
Oh,
it's a
nice.
good time.
So it's like
It's a good
entrance
time.
music, right?
Pretty
So
much. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
very cool. Nice.
What about
Yeah,
you?
I
What makes you happy?
oh well, so I got playlists too. I curate a lot of playlists, and just for different things, I have a morning playlist, right, that I used to have, and then my phone, I switched phones and somehow I lost it. But I have a playlist that kind of is a morning thing, but I use for my classes when I'm teaching virtually. So like during breaks, I'll play some of that, and a lot of it is just good feeling songs. Some Earth, Wind and Fire, some Jack Johnson, some um, the Stevie Wonder, right? And some Jason Mraz, just things like that are in major keys and uplifting, and you get some Bob Marley, right? I like to just if we're doing a class, especially like I said, the line of work that a lot of our folks do is not easy, right? So um, we talk about topics that are dealing with trauma
Hmm.
and crisis and things like that. So, I try to, you know, make the songs meaningful. Like, yeah, "Love's in Need of a Love Today" from Stevie Wonder. Um, and then also, "Three Little Birds" from Bob Marley, "Don't
Hmm.
Worry," right? That type of thing.
Yep.
And and some "That's the Way of the World" from Earth, Wind and Fire, right? And then in the afternoon, I'll play some more upbeat. I'll play "September," dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, right? And get people going a
Mm.
little bit. But then when I also have a playlist that is a hype playlist, right? And that's 7 hours long, right? So this playlist I play for work is 4 hours long. The hype playlist is 7 hours long, and it's just got a mixture of stuff. I was just looking at it. It's got Tupac, it's got some, "Ambitions as a writer, I can't deny it. I'm a street writer,"
Hmm.
right? That's one that just gets me going. That would be one of my walk-up songs if I ever needed to get hyped up, right? And but just those type of things. I've a couple, Bruno Mars songs, some "Modern Love" from David Bowie always gets me going. It's something that, and when we played in my band, it tends to get people in the crowd just up and dancing, right? So those things like that. So I've my whole life is a soundtrack, right? Like
Hmm.
yours. So just thinking about what are some songs that I need in certain places, certain times, right? If the mood strikes or if we're in a conversation, what is it that I'm going to play, right? So, I have a list for if my wife and I aren't getting along, what am I going to play in the car, right? That'll kind of bring us back together. Some of our songs that we kind of connected on when we first met. And that always brings a smile to her face, whether she likes it or not, right? So, just thinking about the benefit. Yeah. So there's different songs for different times. Give me a little Tupac or, even some Led Zeppelin or whatever to get hyped up, to feel good, right? Give me some 70s R&B and soul, a little Donny Hathaway, right? I'm a good boy. And yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, those are my go-tos.
If me and my husband aren't getting along, I play Beyonce's Lemonade so he knows what's up. Works every time. Works every time.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's funny. Right now he's in the corner like this.
He's like, there she
Just
goes.
kidding. We're very functional. We always get along. Even if I
Yeah,
had an attitude, I did have attitude this morning, but he'll forgive me.
yeah.
He'll forgive
Oh,
me. We recover quick.
well, that's a cool thing about, you know, owning property together. You got to figure it out because it's cheaper to keep them, right? So
We just and we really do love each other. We
oh yeah,
really
of
enjoy each
course,
other's company.
of
We
course,
really do
of
enjoy each
course.
other's company. I mean, we're on our adventure right now. So we moved to Mexico a year ago, and going to Mexico always feels like a vacation. Even though I
Hmm.
work there and I'm busy, it always has felt like a vacation. But this week we actually traveled from that house to another place in Mexico. So we're on our first official like road trip inside our new country, which is really kind of cool. So we're in right now Puerto Peñasco, also known as Rocky Point. We've never been here before, and it's another it's like literally right across the Gulf of California. It's
Hmm.
closer to Arizona, but if like you see San Felipe and you see Puerto Penasco, you could just walk across. If you could walk across the Sea of Cortez, you'd be right there. So a lot of similarities, same body of water. We got to cross the Colorado River, which is cool. But now we're in Sonora. It's a different state. This is my
Hmm.
first time outside of Baja California, so I'm pretty excited to be like venturing out a little bit more into Mexico, and it's cool. I like it. I like San Felipe better, to be honest with you. This place is very touristy. There's a lot of like high-end luxury condos and stuff here, kind of dot the sea line, which is
Hmm.
one of the things that I think in Mexico has, I think, ruined a lot of the natural beauty of places is that they get too commercialized. Like I'm not opposed to condos and luxury living. It's just like don't put it on the shoreline because then it blocks everybody else from seeing the water and seeing and having
Yeah.
access to beaches. because the
Yeah.
beaches are all public. But if you put a bunch of private property in front of the beach, then people who live here can't get to the beach and enjoy their land, which I think is kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's expensive here. Oh my gosh, so
Is it?
expensive. We
Yeah.
went to one little spot yesterday and it was cool. Like it was called Wrecked at the Reef, and it's definitely a tourist spot, but it was on the beach and they had like tables and chairs like on the beach, which is nice. But even their appetizers for chips, salsa, and guacamole was like almost $15 American. $15 for chips and
Wow.
salsa?
Wow. Damn.
No, thank you. No, thank you. So we found
Mm.
us a little dingy taco spot instead. That's what I'm all about. I want to see where there's dogs walking around and stuff, and you got to watch where you're stepping because the sidewalk's uneven. That's the food I'm looking for. So,
I got ceviche tostada de camarón and shrimp pupusa for $15 the other day in San Francisco.
I
And I
know.
got chips. I got chips and salsa for free. So
Well, that's why I'm telling you it was spendy here. So we
yeah.
ended up going. The whole reason we came is there's Cheve Fest is what they call it. It's a beer festival that they have here in Puerto Peñasco. And
Mhm.
so uh we went to go buy our tickets because it's on Saturday. And we're going because our local brewery is going to be serving there. So they told us about it. And that's why we were like, oh, we can go. Like,
Okay.
let's
Yeah.
go do that. That sounds like fun. But we went to this other restaurant called El Tapeo, which was really nice. It's like a wine bar. And they have some like craft beers and stuff, but they serve mostly like artisanal cheeses and regional, like basically regional charcuterie boards.
Mhm.
And that was really good. It was also a bit spendy, but it was at least that one I felt like you were getting something of value, not
Yeah.
just chips and salsa, you know, for
Yeah.
15. I can't believe that. But that was really cool. And the service was great and the people were really nice. And so we'll be there again tomorrow. Uh,
Okay.
but but yeah, I'll take my San Felipe any day. Any
Yeah.
day.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, you're on the Mexican Riviera or the inland Mexican Riviera. Yeah. And I'll be up in the California Riviera next week, otherwise known as Susanville and Alturas.
Ooh.
And so, yeah. And if y'all don't know, actually, it's a beautiful part of the state, and it's a little remote. It's a little hard to get there, but it's real cool once you get up there, right? Driving past Lake Alturas and or not Lake Alturas, but Lake Almanor, I think, is up there, right? And then you get up there through the Feather River and drive through Quincy and all this trees and greenery, and it's real cool. And then you get to Susanville, which is an old, kind of a rustic town there for a couple of days. Then you get to Alturas and hang out with our Modoc folks, right? And then, drive through. I usually drive back through Reno and then go over 80 to get home just because it's I don't know. I just driving through the windy roads at night is a little harder as opposed to just, hitting up Reno. Although my favorite place I go for dinner in Reno is no longer there. So,
And I
but I'll figure it out.
I don't know if it's a dinner place, but let me put you on a place that's in Reno.
Hmm.
It's called Pine State Biscuits. And they actually originated in Portland, and I think they have like four in Portland, Oregon now. Pine State Biscuits.
Pine
Like
Pine State Biscuits.
Pine State, like pine like the tree.
Yeah, yeah,
Pine
yeah,
State Biscuits.
yeah.
Their biscuits are like 4 inches tall. They're huge. They usually come like they have different like sandwich. You can just get the biscuit by itself, and they almost always have something crazy like huckleberry jam or something like super delicious. Um, but they do like chicken sandwiches on biscuits with like gravy or with lettuce and tomato and bacon. I mean, they're so good. The ones in
Wow.
Portland, I think I prefer over the one in Reno, although the one in Reno is good. It's really good too. But those
Yeah.
biscuits are freaking out of this world. Out of this
Okay.
world. They were on Food Network. And can I tell you, Pine State Biscuits are the ones who taught me how to grate my butter with a cheese grater and then fold it into my biscuit. So you get little pockets of butter in my mouth.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Oh.
So I learned that trick watching them on Food Network, and I don't know if any of you have ever been disappointed by places that you've seen on like Food Network. Like Guy Fieri has no authority. I've been to so many of his dives, drive-ins, and dive-ins, or whatever he calls them, and I think I've had one that I was like, okay, this is actually really good.
Mhm.
And everything else has been incredibly disappointing.
Oh,
Incredibly disappointing. Actually, the only one place I liked that I went to that he recommended was Jay's Bar and Grill in Sacramento.
hmm.
That one was good. That one was good. Everything else I've been to, I'm like, Guy Fieri, I don't trust you. You're not trustable. Um, but that one I did try because I it was on a different show. It wasn't like one of those. It was I don't know, one of the ones where they go in and anyways, it's fantastic. Put that on your
I
menu or
am.
put that on your repertoire.
I think it's gonna be,
It's really good.
yeah, Pine State biscuit. I'm gonna have to figure that out because I don't know if it's, if it's a biscuit thing. I usually think of biscuits as breakfast, and so um, for dinner, if it's a good sandwich, that's cool. It's just a good biscuit will put me to sleep quicker than anything else. So I have to be aware of that, I'm sure. But all right, I'm gonna have that. I wrote it down, so we'll see. So
Well, they close at 2 p.m., so you might not be able
ah,
it might be
no.
I had to look it up for you because
Well,
um
I wonder if they DoorDash to Alturas, which is a 2.5 hour trip. Let's see if we can make that
good
work.
luck to you. Good luck to you on that one. I
Yeah,
just looked it up right now for you. Now I'm looking at that. I'm like, I need to go because that's delicious.
very cool.
Delicious.
Well, do you have a question? Any question?
Um, well, okay, I do actually have a question, and it's not like one of our usually philosophical questions, but since you're going to Modoc, I know you're going down the other way, but when you take the 299, have you ever stopped at Bernie Falls?
I haven't stopped, but I have seen. You know what I do when I'm on 299, and it's terrible. Is there's that bend that
Yeah.
you're driving, and then you have that you're on the cliff, and then as you look out, you can see Mount Lassen and everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's such a beautiful vista. I always will roll down my window and try to take a picture around the bend, like I anticipate it now, to try to take that picture, especially since I'm usually driving. If I'm driving there, when I teach in Modoc, I usually stay in Reading
Yeah.
and get up at 5 in the morning to get there, just because I like my IHG, and you know let me tell you about my platinum status. It's really sad, but Miss Diamonds are forever. And so, just driving through, and so I'll try to, and I know it's dangerous, but I'm an excellent driver and I never put myself in danger. But sometimes I'll get a really nice shot, right? And but that's something I usually do. But I haven't stopped in Bernie Falls. I need to stop there. I need to stop at the Pitt River Res. And some of those spots along the way that are real cool on that drive. That's a fun drive. I actually
Yeah.
enjoy that drive a little more than I enjoy the 299 on between Reading and Eureka, which is a little longer. And it's not even that
Very
longer, it's
long.
just more windy. Yeah,
That one
so
is windy. I just did that
yeah.
drive for the first time recently, and that was pretty wild.
Hmm.
I do um I passed through that 299 corridor. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it. I
Hmm.
don't know how many times. And I've been trying to be more intentional about like stopping and seeing stuff because when you're on the road, usually it's just like get to the next place, get to the next place, get
Yeah.
to the next place. And so people are like, oh, you've been all these places. Have you been here? Have you been there? And I'm like, no, I go to my hotel, I go to the office, I go to lunch, I go to dinner, I go back to my hotel, and I go to the next place. So I don't always get to take advantage of um, like the cool stuff that's in these different areas and different communities. And trust and believe there's tons of beautiful things to see in all over California. So I've been trying to be more intentional about stopping and just like taking some of the local stuff in. And so the last time I went to Modoc, I want to say it was around December. So it wasn't fully snowing yet. It had snowed, but it wasn't like locked in. And so I stopped at Bernie Falls. And it's only, by the way, like a 10-minute drive off of the 299. So
Hmm.
when you see the sign to go to Bernie Falls, I think it's only like 7 miles off 299.
Okay.
Um, and you just drive in and it's right there. You don't have to go far. It's not like any type of like activation energy needed to get there. You
Yeah.
literally walk out of the parking lot and then you walk up to this little kind of overlook and you can see it. And it is
Hmm.
majestic AF.
Really?
I I am mad at myself for missing it all of these times because it is beautiful. And they have a hike. You can hike down. They have like a little hike loop. I didn't do it because I didn't have the right shoes on and I didn't want to, slip and fall. As I have a love-hate relationship with gravity. Um, Gravity and me, we don't get along, and gravity wins 99% of the time. So I didn't go, didn't do it, but I promised myself the next time I go to that area, I will make sure I have appropriate footwear and go do the little hike because it's not super intensive but it's beautiful. And I was really glad that I made the actually, and I think altogether it was like a 30-minute detour, like driving down there, seeing it, and getting back on the road. It didn't take much time. It was really nice. It
Cool.
was really beautiful.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna go check that out.
you should. I think you should.
Yeah.
I sign off on it. So that was just my question. Or let's, do you ever get a chance to like see some of the local interesting stuff, or do you do the same office to hotel to dinner loop?
I'm at that point now where, yeah, it's just, as my daughter's grandfather used to call when we'd hang out, just a doctor's visit. I'm in there, do what I need to do, and then go. Um, I mean, very often the extent of some of the things I get to do is cool places to eat, right? But if I'm there for multiple days, maybe, but even then, if I'm at the end of a full day, especially if they're two half day classes, because a
Not
little
too half
behind the
days, of
curtain,
course.
guys, right? If it's a full day class, it's 9 to 4. If it's a half day class, it's 8:30 to 12 and then 1 to 4:30. So, it adds an extra hour. And so usually those classes tend to just really kind of knock me out. Um, but if it's something that I've been wanting to do, then I'll do it. I mean, there's a couple places up the coast where I've driven on the coast and checked some things out. But I mean, that's that's one of the sadder things that I probably I should stop at the Avenue of the Giants. I should, because every time I
Mhm.
post, where am I? And on Facebook, I like to take pictures and say, where am I? And let people guess. And some people guess, some people, are sarcastic or snarky and "Oh, you're in your car, things like that. So it just allow people to show their attitude and their personalities. But I hear, oh, you should do this, you should do this while you're here. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not here for vacation. I'm here for business. I'm standing on business, right? So
Mhm.
but it's something I mean, like I said, if I'm there multiple days and, one of the guys from class, hey, we should do this or do that, I'm down for it. That's cool. But most of the time, yeah, I'm like you. If I'm working somewhere where I got to spend the night, usually I will leave the house and drive in the afternoon or evening and get there late enough where I can iron my clothes and then go to bed, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
teach and then on to the next one, right? So that's that's the thing. We know when people say, "Oh, well, you get to travel to all these great places." I traveled to the county office or wherever they have us doing training. And then I travel to the next, or I travel to my hotel, or I travel to a food spot I like. And usually but nowadays I'll pick up the food and go home, or I'll DoorDash it. It's it's just I would like to say that you know I get to really be a tourist, but I don't
Yeah.
and but I just like I said, the hardest part of what we do, I love what we do, and I really do dig it. Um, but it's getting there, which is really wearing me out these days. It just maybe since the pandemic where I got to teach virtually and got used to being at home a little bit, or just I'm 5 years older. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it takes a certain amount of energy that I need to deal with, right? So that's yeah. So sorry guys, it's not a super exciting answer, but that's yeah,
Well, it's
that's the
real
truth.
though. It's real though. That's sometimes people have the misconception that well, we're out working, we're on luxurious vacations, but it's anything
Yeah.
but not
Yeah.
complaining, just the reality of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just the reality
absolutely.
of it.
You know, so that leads us to our top five tips.
Yeah.
And so, top five, just talking about, what are the top five things you bring to the table, your strengths, the things that
Mm.
you, not that you necessarily have to toot your horn, but what's your top five tools in your toolbox that you bring to the table for people?
I am creative. I'm very creative. I'm really good at generating ideas. I'm not great at implementing them. Let's just be honest there, but I'm really good at coming up with like out of the box ideas.
Mhm.
I am funny. I'm hilarious. I crack myself up all the time. Sometimes people laugh with me, but I laugh at myself all the days. I also say I'm very reliable to others. Not in a social sense. I'm a bit of a flake socially, but professionally, I'm very, very reliable. I'm going to be there when I say I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up and do what I said I'm going to do when I'm going to do it. And if I'm not going to do it, I let you know as soon as I know that I'm not going to do it. I also am going to say I'm very generous, very generous. I really love giving to others, whether it be my time, my effort, my energy, my money, my skills. Like if I can help somebody else, and I don't expect anything in return, I'm going to do that. And I think the last one, I was kind of going between being versatile and being flexible, but I'm going to go with flexible and not in the yoga bendy type of flexibility because not so much there. But I'm going to say that I really am flexible and kind of adapting to whatever's going on. When things don't go as planned, I'm really quick at the pivot. Okay, let's figure something else out. And
Okay.
okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And so I'm very quick to move on and find something different without giving it a whole lot of energy. So think for me, those are my top five.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah.
What
So,
about you?
yeah, well,
Or
I
go
think
ask your question. Sorry, I don't mean to just rush into your top five. Go ahead.
no. Gonna, I was just waiting, I, I'm a good listener. That's one of my strengths, right? And part of being a good listener is making sure people are heard, right? So, not trying to rush into a conversation, right? That's definitely something where I like to relate to folks and connect folks. Like I already mentioned, connecting people, I really do well with that. I'm really good at connecting other people, maybe even better than me connecting with them. But I try to connect with people. I try to find something that connects us. So just
Mhm.
relatability, right? Which really, as much as I'd like to think I'm just naturally, it's actually a tactic for me to be able to connect with you as I think about what do we have in common. So because I always find that it's easier to connect with people when we have something in common, right? So
Mhm.
just connecting people, relating to other people. I tend to put other people first, right? Which isn't, I mean, it isn't always a good thing, and I've learned as I've gotten older to respect my boundaries when it comes to putting other people first. But what I mean by that is that when I'm interacting with you, I'm thinking about how am I landing on you? Right? So the words that that I use or the intention that I have, I really want you to feel comfortable with me. I want you, and I've heard that. A lot of people, I feel like I've known you for a long time, or I feel like in coaching, well, I feel like this is more of a conversation, right? And so things like that. And so And that's because naturally I'm focusing on how are you feeling in this
Mhm.
situation, right? And then just I'm conscientious when it comes to what we do, what I do, right? So because I'm interested in how I land on people, I don't want to waste people's time, right? So if I'm in a class, I want to make sure you're getting the best of what I have to offer, information that'll be helpful, right? And that I'm prepared, that I'm not someone who's just coming in, talking off, the seat of my pants, or coming up with a script just to talk and to be heard rather than actually really collaborate and facilitate, right? And then I think the last one that I think that I bring to the table is just if I had to think of something, just my the fact that I'm able to see everybody individually, right? It's something where I mean I judge, we all judge. We've already talked about that, right? We all make assumptions. We all and our brain does this without our permission, right? We see something, we assign them a value, but I'm getting much better, and I've been pretty good at I assign this value, but is it right? How do I know? Right? I need to
Mhm.
lean into this, right? So I look at everyone as an individual. I don't just give cookie cutter stuff, and I think that helps me just in my interactions with people because people get, and a lot of people call it code switching, and I can code switch, but I mean, it's not even just code switching. It's just, maybe, culture switching, right? And being able to connect with people at a level that they feel comfortable with. And hopefully, the more that they're comfortable with how I'm interacting with them, they'll be more comfortable with me and, just overall, right? So
Mhm.
those are things that I really, I think I bring to the table, and I mean, a lot of those are real, you know, people centered, soft skill centered, right? You don't, I have other skills that I've developed over time, right? Just with presentations and writing and things like that, which I think are great. And I've met some great people have that are amazing at the presentation skills they have and how on time they are and how they use technology and AI and all those wonderful things, but they can't sell it, right? They will talk to you about what they know, all the different models that we go through. We've been through so many models in our discussions, with situational leadership and SCARF and all those other things. But if you're just telling people stuff and you're really not necessarily as interested in their feedback or them applying things, it's like I said, that conscientiousness comes in where I feel like I'm wasting their time, and I don't want to waste people's time. People work hard, and they don't always have time just to sit there and listen to someone talk. And then if they're listening to someone talk, is it really registering? Is it something they can take away? Is it transferable? Right. So
Right.
yeah, that's definitely those are my top five. Right.
Awesome.
And yeah, you know, and we talked about that just leading into our topic, but you know, strengths, right? And it's something people talk about a lot. What are your strengths? Strengths finders and all those other things like that. But, we have people who are really good at things and you wouldn't know, or they don't really lean into it, and so that was another question I had, Tiff. Why do you think it's so hard for people to lean into their strengths and tooting their own horn, or just not even about tooting their own horn, but just being able to leverage the things that they do well when they interact with other people?
I think it's complex. So, right off the top of my head, one of the first things is that I think that we've over rotated on humility. And, like sometimes if you're really confident and, well, and so let me just say there's a very fine line between confidence and arrogance.
Sure.
And it's so fine that I think that some people have the misconception that if they're confident in their skill set, that they will be perceived as being arrogant. And so they hold back, right? They minimize their gifts because they don't want to appear to be arrogant, right? I get that. The other thing I think, which is a little different, is that sometimes people don't want to show all of their skills because then more will be required of them, right? And so if I share with you at work that I'm really good at this other thing, I might get pigeonholed into doing that other thing all of the time, even if it's not within my scope of my work.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that's like another hesitation. Um, and I also will acknowledge here, sometimes people don't recognize that they're good at stuff because they just assume everybody's good at it. And so they don't even ever give it a second thought. It's just second nature to them that they just do it. And there's no like, I'm really good at this. They're just like, I'm, I just do it. It's something that has to get done. So I do it. And so
Yeah.
there's not always this intentional, and aside from a job interview, honestly, like what space do we have without being judged by others? Do we really get to talk about like the things that we're really good at?
Yeah.
And I'll have to just acknowledge sometimes when you have people who surround you who love and care about you, who tell you what you're good at, you have to kind of feign surprise, like, oh my God, I can't believe that you noticed that about me. Oh my God, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I know I'm confident in my skill set. I'm also confident in what I don't know. So what I don't know, I try to learn. I have a way longer list of things I'm not good at. Finishing stuff is number one on the list. Um, but when you get around people who you have really genuine relationships with and like genuine respect and love for each other, you actually do have those conversations. So my friend Dope, not your friend Dope, but my friend Dope is one of those people who she sees people, good, bad, or ugly, and she'll tell you the truth, good, bad, or ugly. And it's always coming from a place of love and respect. She's not a type of person who will um, tear people down for the joy of it. But if you need to get it together, she'll let you know. So you have an opportunity to get it together. And that's like one of like her strengths that I admire so much about. So when she tells me things about my strengths, when she says, "Oh man, Tiff, you're so good at this and you're so amazing and I admire you in this way," I believe her. I
Hmm.
believe her. And when you get that kind of feedback, 'cause again, you can see what you think you're good at all day long. But when you get that feedback from other people who trust and believe, if I wasn't doing good, she'd be also the first one to tell me. Then I really like it builds that confidence. It builds that if she can see it, then I'm doing it right. Right.
Hmm.
And I'm sure I'm hoping that all of us have some dope someone named dope in their life. I was gonna say some dope in their life, but that's not the message I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Just say no to dope. Yeah, but say yes to some
No
dope,
to
right?
drugs. Say no to drugs. But I would hope that everybody would have someone in their life that loves them so much that they can share with them all of the good that they bring and the values that they have and how important they are in this world. And at the same time, also give you opportunities to grow and develop as well, which I
Hmm.
think is also a huge strength that I don't think we talk about enough is the ability to receive and act on feedback without resentment. Right. But
Yeah.
that's another topic for another day. But the ability to receive feedback without resentment,
Yeah.
of course, I want to hear like what I'm doing well, but I think it takes even more courage for someone to share with me, you're doing these things great and I love it about you. Here's an area where you can really do better. How can I help you? That's and not be defensive about that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and I hear you. I think that's such an important piece, right? Just thinking about the idea of when we can recognize the things we do well, we can also recognize areas of improvement, right? And so, I just having that's the importance of understanding your strengths, right?
Hmm.
And being able to work through those is that I know that I do these things well, which allow me to, function and to have that bit of esteem, right? I think esteem is something that's really important, especially for kids, right? Some have something that they're good at, let them know that they're good at, right?
Hmm.
And I heard somebody on a podcast say, "Oh, the problem with this generation is that, they just scribble on a piece of paper and then we put it up on the wall and say, 'Wow, that's great. That's like abstract art and all this stuff.'" And that's such a generality, right? But I mean,
Right.
what is it that I mean, if somebody is good at baseball or basketball, or somebody's good at dancing or works hard at dancing, right? Even if they're not the most naturally inclined, but they're working hard to be accomplished, or they get a green belt or a blue belt, right? Or have good grades, that's something that is important for people to have at a young age to hold on to say, because being a young adult, a preteen, a teenager, it can be really sucky for a lot of folks, right? Unless you are the most popular and the big man on campus, and then a lot of those folks who it wasn't sucky for as a teenager turns out to suck a little bit as an adult, and they're not able to handle it, right? So having that thing to hang on to, and I think that's what translates to us as adults, as professionals, as leaders, right? What is that thing that I know that I can lean on, that I feel good about? And when someone gives me that feedback about something that I need to work on, okay, cool. So I can do this and I can get better, because, and I can add it to my tool belt because these are the things that I already do well.
This concludes part one of our episode. Stay tuned for part two, coming Tuesday to all major podcast platforms.